Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. We are doing a small little update and going over the books I read in May and June. Now if you want to skip ahead to the book reviews, the time is right here. I am going to go into a little bit of detail, a little update on all of this. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to do a full in-depth review of every book. If you want like my immediate thoughts about when I finished a book, it's all on my Fable. It's linked below and you can see immediate thoughts. Otherwise I'm just going to do a quick review of those, but if you want to jump to that, time is down here. Otherwise I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened. I did not post anything in June. I didn't film anything in June. I filmed a May review, did not like it, just didn't feel like I was in it, and didn't want to post it. I think I was in some sort of a slump at the end of May and most of June. I just couldn't get into books. I did only read 6 books in each month, which I understand is a lot more than a lot of people. I understand that. We'll get to that in a second. But for me, it was low. I ended up like really only reading a few chapters a day and really just dragging out books. And it all came down to decision fatigue. We got really nice weather, finally, here in Denver. And I essentially got decision fatigue because I started to want to do so many things of like getting active outside, hiking, camping. There were other crafts that like my creative outlet wants to do, such as like those diamond arts, paint by numbers, those building things. Oh, it's all the way up top. Those little like book nook things that you can put on a bookshelf that you build, and reading on top of all that, and content creation, not just for books but wanting to try vlogging again. Yeah, I ended up just getting decision fatigue. Just didn't really do anything. So much so to the point where like I couldn't decide what to do, so I ended up just scrolling. Got in that really bad habit. I essentially let that go on for 2 weeks, and then I sort of just decided, okay, we're gonna throw away our June TBR. I filmed a whole video on it. I got excited for those books. I only read one of them and I read other books instead because I just wanted to read kind of just whatever I was gravitating towards, and romances ended up being it just because I love a good quick little romance, one that you can kind of read through in a couple of days and just really enjoy the story. So like I said about the fact that I only read 6 books each month, I understand that's a lot to some people. It's low to me. For a while there, I did kind of speak negatively on myself about not being at the pace that I was in the previous months where I was reading 10 plus books a month, and was kind of like negatively thinking about what I haven't done yet. And I like cut that mindset out of my head and was like, no, let's reshape this. We're not going to dwell on what we haven't done yet. We're going to think positively on what we have done yet. And that like really helped kind of take me out of that. So I kind of let myself dwell for like an hour after I had that thought, and then I was like, only positive from here on out. We've done an amazing job. 6 books in May and June each is a lot. Some people don't even read 6 books in a year. We're doing okay. We're still really like on track to reach my goal of 80 books this year. So we're being more positive. For the month of July and I think into August, I'm going to just kind of do some more sit down videos, kind of talking about where we are at, mid-year check-ins, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully we'll have some more videos coming your way. I know I don't have the biggest following, but I still want to do this for me and just kind of have it all documented. With that being said, we're going to get into the May books and the June books. I'm going to do quick little overviews, nothing too much. I'm going to tell you my rating and just quick little thoughts on them. I just don't think I can do the in-depth ones, and I'm totally okay with that. So, to get into May, we did read all of the 6 books that were on the prompts that I picked for May, so that felt good, but it was a little forced. Because I definitely read A Secret in the Garden last, right? Yeah, and I definitely like forced myself to read that in like a day at the end of the month. That's another thing we're going to try not to do, is forcing myself to read if I'm not in the mood, because it'll make me not like reading. Anyways, to get into May, the first book was Bryn and Sebastian Hate Each Other by Bethany Turner. This is a romance about Bryn and Sebastian, obviously. Bryn is from a small town in Colorado, but like way in the mountains. I need to check if it's a real small town. Anyways, I never did that. And she is kind of like a morning newscaster, kind of like the happy, where you only talk about happy stories. And she gets caught on a hot mic saying something bad about her town growing up. Social media blows up on her saying she's not worthy to be on this, and she's hoping it'll blow over. And the plan that her and her producer come up with is that she's gonna go home for a week, they're going to film her interacting with everybody and bringing the peace back. Sebastian is a retired journalist who had just like disappeared, was supposed to be like a big nightly anchor, and then just disappeared one day. And he ended up moving to that same small town. She has been gone since she was like 18, and they're now in their 30s, and that was one thing I really enjoyed about this book, was it was older people. It wasn't just people being like 22 years old. No, these people were like in their 30s. But yeah, they meet. The banter's really fun. I'll be fully honest with you, the first 2 chapters I reread 3 times. I think either 2 or 3 times, and I almost DNF'd the book because I did not understand what was going on. And then I was just like, I should just DNF it. And I was like, no, give it a chance. But I really ended up liking it, liking the banter. I gave it a 3.5 star, and I think it was a pretty good book. I did end up getting another book or 2 from her because she has a handful of other books, because I just really liked the banter that she wrote between these characters, and it was something that was enough for me to be like, I'm not going to give up on her writing off of this first book. So we grabbed a couple more. We read Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is book 2 of the Wicked Games series. I think there's supposed to be 3, and there's a 3rd one coming out. Honest opinion, I liked Phantasma better. I feel like that's an unpopular opinion. Still a really good book. I think I gave it a 4.25 just because I gave Phantasma a 4.5, and I still really did enjoy this book. Kaylee can write a gothic setting so well. Like, that is where, like, the storyline's really good. I really enjoyed the world that she created, because I was kind of curious on how they were going to connect, because like having 2 books that have like levels of a game that you have to get through, I was kind of intrigued on how they were going to be different. And I did like the family dynamic of this one with the Silvers. I was a little curious how it was going to work out, considering what we learned in the first book and how that would relate to this one. If you know, you know. But again, Kaylee can write a gothic fantasy setting so well. I can literally picture it in front of me when I'm reading it. I just so much enjoyed this book. If you've watched, you know that I haven't read a lot of fantasy, so I haven't read a lot of like trial books, and these are like really good starter books on getting used to trials and making me excited to get into other books about trials. So good. Did like Phantasma better, but still a really good book. Still excited for book 3 to come out when it comes out. Alright, we then have The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer. This one was a fun little cozy fantasy. We did a couple cozy fantasies this month. This one, what I really liked about it was that it was different than what I expected it to be. Going off of the blurb, I thought one thing, book went a completely different direction. I really enjoyed it and really enjoyed the setup that she did. I really liked that there were like, instead of like part 1 and part 2, we had this little breakdown of book 1 being romance, book 2 being a mystery, book 3 being fantasy, nonfiction, young adult and horror, thriller, and science fiction. Because the turns that you take in this were crazy, and just like, to me, I didn't expect it, and just thought the whole concept of the book was really fun. This I gave a 5 star because of all those changes, but there is a line very, very near the end of this book, and I don't want to say it because that will like be a spoiler, but another character tells our main character something, and it happened. I cried. I had a couple tears going down the cheek when I reread that whole line like 3 or 4 times, probably even more if I'm being honest, and I was like, I'm crying. It happened. You made me cry, Meg. You made me cry. So you get a 5 star, because this was a lot more than what I expected, and it makes me really excited to read her other ones. I have The Wishing Game, and then there was the other one, Belong Something, I think, that I want to get as well at some point. I'm a new fan to Meg. So 5 star, The Book Witch for me. Next up we have Agnes Albert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. This was so fun. I think we've all seen this. We have Agnes, who has a cat shelter. She needs a new home. Her landlord ends up being Havelock, who is like a mad magician and the world's biggest enemy. This was really fun as a cat person who has a cat, and all the cats, it was so perfect. It was all done well. They each had their own personality somehow. And I understand that this is a cozy fantasy that like all of a sudden near the end it kind of like really picks up and then it like ends. And I've heard a lot of people talking about they didn't like that. I kind of didn't mind. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun. And I really did enjoy the little bit of romance that we have in here because it was so awkward between them, but it was so funny that you could just see it happening in real life. And I could see it, like, if this ever got adapted to screen, how it would work. And it just, like, made me kind of giddy and do a little laugh. But thought it was really good. I gave this one a 4. I haven't read her Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I don't know if I will. I wasn't really attracted to those books when I first heard about them. So I'm still kind of on the fence if I'm going to read them, but if she does any more cozy fantasies like this, I can maybe get behind it a little bit. It was fun. See, this is one of those things where I read less books, but I read some real quality books because that was a 5, a 4, and a 4.25. And then we had another 5 in the month of May. Red City, Marie Lu. I put this book off for way too long. However, the next book doesn't come out until like next year. Like, I think early 2027. So that's already like kind of upset because I need to know what happens next because the way this one ended, I mean, you see the setup for the next book, but there's this one aspect of it that you're just like, why? I needed a little extra something. But like now, like it just left you with such, not like a big cliffhanger, but enough that you're just like, no, I want a little bit more of that before we go, and we didn't get it. But this was so fun. I don't even know how to break this down other than we have 2 childhood friends, we have alchemy, incredibly written, incredible front to back, and just so fun, and a little bit of stuff happening that I didn't think was going to happen, which like added more to me liking it, and then other stuff where you were like, oh no, I can't believe this is happening, but like it still adds to the story that you're like, please read this. I think I just put, if you've been wanting to pick this up and haven't yet, take this as your sign to read it now. And I remember just like sitting with this book. This was one of those books that I did kind of drag out over a week. And like normally I would read in about 2 or 3 days, but the fact that I gotta like read this book for a week really kind of attracted me to that. Because it was like I gotta sit with the story for like 7 days, where I gotta be in this story for 7 days instead of like 2 or 3. And I think that really added to the experience of this book. I say read it, take your time, it's worth it. It's so good. If you want to know immediately what happens next, then save it for until book 2 comes out. Because, you know, it was so good. Next we have A Secret in the Garden by Janine O'Reilly. I think it's categorized as a fantasy, but I think it needs to be more paranormal. Because there's not really fantasy that happens. It's more a couple little paranormal things are sprinkled in. And it's not even like the whole book is paranormal. It's literally like just a handful of sections. Anyways, I thought this book was okay. We have Eliza and Jasper. Eliza works for a botanical garden. It's lost a lot of funding and they need to go to the local billionaire. Is he a billionaire or millionaire? Millionaire for a donation. And Jasper is in charge of Blackwood Manor. He's considered like the town pariah. Everybody thinks he killed his parents like 10 years prior. Like nobody's seen his parents since. So it's kind of seen as this place you just don't go. You don't interact with him either. I had a couple qualms with this because there were a handful of things that I did not agree with and things where I started to think about, I don't want to claim anything, but there were some repetitive sentences. There was a lot of grammatical errors and just things that kind of didn't make sense and I kind of had to reread a lot. Don't know if there was any help in this. I don't want to claim anything. I don't know anything. If you want to read it, read it. I think it's a really good story. It just had potential for more because we also had that main problem. Oh, I kind of forgot to say it. But she's going to him to get a donation and he says, you can have your donation if you stay here for 3 months and make my conservatory come alive again. Like if you can do it, I'll give you money, kind of thing. So that's the main thing that's going on. And then there's a side issue with one of her parents that it kind of adds to it in the way of like how the character grows. I feel like we kind of didn't need it if we just avoided that in general. But I like still understand why I was in there, but it just kind of was a little too much for me in my opinion. Also, this book was very inner monologued, where it was in her head a lot of her describing things, where it was like a conversation would start and then she would go into a monologue for like 5+ pages and then we would go back to that conversation. So you'd be reading the inner part and then you're like, oh wait, yeah, we were in the middle of a conversation. So that just kind of threw me off. Still gave it a 3 star. I think it's okay if you want to read it, read it. It's definitely a beautiful cover. There is another book coming out later this year. Don't know if I'm going to pick it up though. With everything else that I have, I probably won't pick it up. Take with that what you will. Okay, so that was my May books. So to get into my June books, like I said, I fully just tossed my June TBR. I did end up reading one of them, but I just fully tossed it because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get into any fantasies. I had started to read All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. I read the first chapter, which was 20 pages long, and it just kind of took me out, so I just put that back on the TBR shelf and was like, nope, we'll come back to it some other time. It was just a lot. So we just kind of picked up other books. What's interesting is between May and June, I actually did reach a lot of like... So May had 3 books from my 26 for 2026, which felt good. And then June, I completed 3 series. Or like I'm up to date on them. So I did kind of end up attacking some of my like other things unknowingly. I didn't really realize it until later. I kind of like felt really good about having those accomplishments and like having my TBR come down, because when you finish a series there's no extra book to add. So instead of like just replacing the book you just read with the next in the series, it just goes away. So that disappears and makes the numbers go down a little bit more. But to start off May, we did The Daisy Chain Flower Shop by Laura Gilmore. I love this little series. I know a lot of people don't, and that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. This one has ended up being my second favorite book out of the whole series. We have Daisy, who is back to run her family's beloved flower chain. Daisy Chain Flower Shop. And then we have Elliot, who has moved into the city, or town I should say, adjusting to small town life following his own relationship turmoil. We go into this knowing that they think there's some sort of curse on this flower shop, because the last few people who got married and used her flowers, their relationship ended within like 6 months or something, or like weddings were called off. So they all think that she's cursed because they're like, no love, like we're not gonna buy from you. It doesn't say it on the back, but I think tropes have been talked about it. It is a fake dating. So those two end up fake dating because he needs to like show his mom that he's okay. Look, I'm out there, I'm dating again. And she needs to show the town that like true love has come into her life, so you can start buying flowers from me again. Fun little concept. I really enjoyed the curse aspect, and then I really enjoyed they did like a bunch of like background, because it's one of those things where like, you know, with small towns, when they become like incorporated and stuff, there's usually a long history behind it. And the Daisy Chain Flower Shop, it was like from the very beginning of the history, and we go through some background and history learning about her family, his family, and it was just kind of really fun. And I really enjoyed these two as a couple. They were really funny. Elliot's story on like when he started living there to when the story starts is really funny, and I really enjoyed like having that laugh. And then of course seeing all the other characters come in and the small town and just being brought back into this was really fun. I think I've talked about it before in some past ones. I grew up in a small town of 800 people, and so I know what this is. And this was in the middle of Iowa. We didn't even have harbor or oceans near us, so it's completely different, but it's just still really fun and just funny of how I can relate to it. This one I gave a 4. Still, like I said, second favorite in this series. My favorite is The Gingerbread Bakery, and this was, I don't know if it's finished. I know there's like a novella, the ice cream parlor one. I haven't read that one yet. I don't even know if it's available in the US, because I think it's available in the UK but not in the US yet. I'm not for sure. And then I can't remember if there's another one or not. So I'm not sure if this is the internet, but we're all caught up. Okay, the next 3 are gonna be kind of rapid fire, but we finished the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. We have a photo finish, which is Violet and Cole. Cole is the brother of Vaughn in the first book, and Violet is actually the sister of the Chestnut Springs series. Because yeah, if you didn't know, this series comes first before Chestnut Springs. Wish I knew that before I read those, because I loved getting her background, because this is also my favorite book in the series. But these two knew each other kind of from the past. They had some online chat with each other, And you explore that in the book, and you explore that, like the past part and them getting to know each other again, because Violet is a jockey for Cole's family's horse racing. I'm trying to think of the right words. But I knew I was going to like this book because you get a sneak peek of it at the end of the first one and was like, okay, I know I'm going to love this one. I did love this one. Like I said, it's my number one of this series. It was just a really good storyline for the two of them and how they grow, and the shock and awe that I got from Cole, I did not see that coming. And it was just like, oh my god, like why didn't I even think of that? But yeah, it just, if you know, you know. I hate saying that, but like, I don't want to spoil it. I'm not a spoiler. Really good. This one got a 4-star and is my number one of the series. And then we have the front runner, which is Stefan Dolka and Mira. Mira is a a vet for horses, kind of mainly, and just like farms. Harding family from the first 2 books builds a clinic on their land for her to like run and own. And she tends to their horses and to Stefan's horses. And we meet Stefan in the first one, and he's kind of this like villain, or like seen as this villain essentially. But in this book we learn that he's actually not a villain, and we learn about his background a little bit and how he came there, and like what exactly, like how he ended up there with his sister, because they're like from Europe. And then Mira is, like I said, the vet, so she attends to everybody, she knows the families, and they get to know each other. So I do really enjoy the journey these two go on as well. I think it's just kind of different from the other like cowboy romances and tropes that are out there. There's just a little bit more of like the found family aspect in here that I think is really well done. I've started to really notice people who do found family very well, and they definitely stand out compared to other people. And so I did really enjoy this one. I believe this is my, yeah, I would say this is my second favorite of the series because it was really good. Which then led us to A False Start, which is the 4th and final book. This one was okay. I probably, like in hindsight, probably should have DNF'd it. I just wasn't really feeling it between these two. There is a large age gap, and just kind of like how they meet, I was there, but the rest of the book I wasn't. And so that's kind of what took me out. And if I hear the nickname Wildflower one more time, like that's why I almost DNF'd it, because the way that he kept saying Wildflower, I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. This isn't right. It just doesn't feel right. And like I said, I probably should have DNF'd, but it was the last book of the series. Just decided to push through. I don't think I said it. Frontrunner was a 3.5. This one was a 3. Still okay. Still like her writing, and just still really enjoyed the series as a whole. I think it's a lot better than that one right there. I say that, but I definitely think if you compare those 5 and these 4 individually, this one definitely makes it near the bottom. But the whole series, I think, is just a little bit better. I am trying to decide if I want to go into that one. Is it Rose Hill? Yeah, the Rose Hill. Still trying to decide if I want to go into it. Not 100% there yet. It's not on my immediate TBR, so I probably won't pick it up for a while. Okay, the one book that was on my TBR that I read, The Enemy by Sarah Adams. This is the second book to The Match by her. She is one of my new favorite authors. It got a 5-star. It just, the way she writes banter and sets up her scenes are just so good. I really hate that I put off her books for so long. I've thought about and almost did pick up the next series, which starts with the Off Limits rule, but I just kind of, I was like, no, let's hold back a little bit. Let's get into something else. Yeah, these are just so good. So we have June. She is the sister to The Match, the guy in The Match, whose name I can't remember, Jake, I think, because they were all J's. And June is a bakery owner. She owns it with her best friend. And then we have Ryan, who they were like high school villains, but their best friends are getting married. And so she's the bridesmaid, or the maid of honor. He's the best man. So they're gonna see each other. They haven't seen each other since graduation. They were kind of like frenemies, not really frenemies, but like because their best friends were dating all through high school, they always hung out together. And they always just kind of like try to one-up each other, try to like prank each other, blah, blah, blah. And then on graduation, he almost kisses her, and then he leaves. And they don't see each other for 2 years. Or 12 years, not 2 years. And then they're back for this wedding, And he is like a 3-star Michelin chef. She owns her own bakery and is doing very well for herself. When they're brought back together, that competitive nature comes back, but truths come out during that time. And again, just the banter between them, the setup is really good, and just the whole storyline was really fun. And there was a moment near the end of it where his memory came back and did something, and it was so cute, and it was just like perfect. Yeah, just had a really good time with this one. Like I said, she's become another favorite author of mine. Basically has become an auto-buy author, so anything she puts out I will most likely buy because it's so good. It's so worth it. And for anyone wondering, she does do like closed door spice, so if you don't like spice, it's not in here, which I think kind of elevates a little more. Also, she does again write adults who are in like their 30s, which as someone who's in her 30s now loves that instead of college age people. Okay, and last but not least, for I say June because I read like 90% of it in June, and I'm filming this on July 1st, and I just finished it today, so I still count it towards June. This is another thing where I'm not going to really pressure myself into trying to squeeze that last book in for the end of the month, because I could have stayed up until midnight to read it last night, but I decided 11 o'clock was late enough and wanted to go to bed. This is book 2. It's Wild About You by Rebecca Jenchak. Is she this shelf? Yeah, she's this shelf right here. I have a ton of her books. This one is a reread for me. It's the Wildcat series, book 2, and I've read 1 and 2 in the past, but I never finished the series, so I wanted to reread 1 and 2. I read 1 a few months ago, 2 this month, and it's kind of what I remember. Now, what I said about found family for Elsie Silver, she does extremely well, and now that I think about some of her other books that I read, her found family is just so well done, and it's just like, it like hugs you with how well she writes it. The series is about is it just Minnesota? I think is where they're at, if I can't even remember. A professional hockey team, the Wildcats. So a sports romance. This one is about Tyler, who's in his rookie season, and Piper. They had previously dated when they were like 18, and then they broke up because he felt like he wasn't enough and could provide, because they did long distance essentially, and he always felt like he was flaking on her. So they broke up. 4 years later, they're in the same city again, and Piper is actually his sister's student teacher. I'm trying to get the words right. And he needs help because his sister just kind of showed up randomly and started living with him. She's 18, she needs to finish high school. She goes to the high school that Piper works at, and then Piper ends up helping nanny her, essentially. Nanny, but not nanny. She kind of just helps watches over her while he's out of town. And we kind of see them rekindle, second chance romance. And it's a really good book. I really do enjoy her writing. I've read literally almost everything she's put out, and I've just really liked her for probably about 4 or 5 years now. And like I said, I got like most of her books. She made the middle shelf too, so that means a lot. That means a lot coming from me. Reread. Excited to get into book 3. Book 3 I think is going to be really good. I'm going to hold off on book 3 because I have decided that July is going to be dedicated to Helena Hunting, and we are going to try and read her entire booked series. So wish me luck for that. I have 6 books to read. It's really 5 in a novella, but I think it'll be fun. And I've just kind of been on this rampage of finishing series. I recently, if I can move you, readjusted my shelves. So we still have the 26 for 2026 here. Other than these books that are sideways, the rest of them here are my continuing series books. And they're all book 2 of a series. Like, that's literally where I am. So I need to add book 3 to the shelf. But everything else is literally book 2 of a series. And it's like, book 3 isn't out yet, book 3 isn't out yet, so I'm holding off. Possible DNF, just not feeling it right now. No, this one I want to get into, but just not yet. It's fantasy, so I'm kind of holding off. There's a handful of these, not sure if I even want to read it right away. And so I'm just kind of wanting to focus on kind of getting those cleared out, because again, once I get them cleared out, then they're like not on my list. So I think I'm going to come out with a video soon about going through my physical TBR and maybe taking some of them away. I kind of want to be a little bit more strict with myself with like things that I'm not picking up because I'm not gravitating towards them. Because if I'm being honest, I have put some back already. In the last 6 months, I have been like, I don't think I'm feeling you. We're just gonna put you back right now. So I kind of want to revisit all that. And then I want to revisit my series. And I have a whole tracker on my computer that I keep everything on that I kind of want to like, well, I need to update it. I don't think I've touched it in 2 months. I want to kind of clean everything out and really focus on what I want to read. And then I think that'll make it easier for me to decide what I want to do. A ton of books that I have on my TBR cart are book 1, and I don't have book 2 or any other books in the series. I don't really want to buy them either right now. So I kind of just want to read what I have. If I have a full book series here, I should prioritize that first and then look at reading something new. That was a lot. So a little update on what's going on with the channel. May review, June review, hopefully more videos coming to you. But that's it for this video. If you are still here, thank you so much for sticking around. I do really appreciate it so much. It means the world. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment if you want to. If you don't know what to comment, we're halfway through the year. Let me know where you are on your reading goal. Maybe we can motivate each other to kind of keep going. And I will see you on the next one.